Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I am joined by my two co-hosts, Michael Hall and Michael Reed. But we are joined by royalty, returning guest and host of his own podcast, the Bleeding in Burgundy podcast, with Jesse, a former guest as well. Keith, thank you for joining us tonight, sir. How are you doing?
Man, thank you for having me on. I'm doing. I don't know how I'm doing, man. I'm still trying to wrap my head around a lot of this.
Exhilarating last couple days, hasn't it?
Yeah, the things were coming out of nowhere, and honestly, I still haven't wrapped my head around everything that's been presented in front of me. But I'm trying to be humble. It's a little hard though.
Hey, we all will admit that you deserve it, Keith, more than anybody.
Yeah,
I will say. But to give everyone, if they aren't up to date and educated on what we're talking about here, if you could kind of let everyone know about the Fan Ambassador Program and you being a leader of the community part of it.
Ooh, well, I'm gonna be a little long-winded here, so just cut me off.
Do it.
Point. All right, so everyone knows about the Fan Ambassador Program that the team put together.
Yes.
Really, the idea behind it was to get some fans involved into something new, that the team wants to try and do. But I think what a lot of people have a misconception about the program. They think that for some reason we're a part of the team name change, and that is not the case. Okay, so let me clarify that now. We have no what's the word I'm looking for here? We
no pull whatsoever in that.
None.
So I just want to put this out there. If you do want Red Wolves to be the name, make sure you DM Keith because he's directly linked to them.
Yeah, he's accepting all DMs right now. He will read everyone.
Right in the trash.
He loves that name, actually. I think Keith actually came up with it.
I hate you, Reed.
I do too. I hate myself.
Yeah. So we have no pull on the name change, but the idea behind it was to grab some fans, put them in some categories, and really it's our job as an ambassador to come out to the rest of the fans. Okay, so we're note takers, so to speak. So in my perspective category, which is community, right? The idea behind that is we're going to have quarterly meetings, okay? But we're about to have a meeting with Joey coming up soon where he's going to lay down the structure for each of the categories. And we're going to have jobs to do. And really, behind all of it, the job is to reach out to all of the fans to get their opinions and ideas. We're note-taking, and then what we're doing is we're bringing all of these notes, whether I agree with them or not. It's not about me. It's actually about the fans and what the fans want. And listen, there's a lot of people that have way better ideas than I do. So I'm going to take those ideas that these people are giving, and I'm going to bring them to the table. Well, only the good ones.
I was about to say that's smart, man. There you go.
Yeah. Let's not. God,
I'm outing you on here. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So bring them to the table, right? And the team is going to do what they do, and there might be more into it. Again, we haven't really been explained much, but there's been a lot going on. So we will have our meeting where all of the ambassadors will have our Zoom calls. We'll know what our roles and responsibilities are, and I'm going to be 100% transparent with everyone on what my role and responsibility is, and I want to involve as many people as I can, because there are people that do reach out to me and they're like, hey, talk about this, talk about that. Hey, they probably don't want to hear that from me yet. It's not really about that, but I do want to involve as many people as possible, because again, everyone has great ideas, whether I agree with them or not, and they need to be brought to the table. And I want people to feel the same way that I did with the whole Ron Rivera boxing gloves. I want people to feel a part of something. And if they're giving me the opportunity to be able to do that, then that's what I'm going to do. That is my responsibility.
And credit to you for feeling that way, Keith. That's awesome. But I wanted to ask you, how was the flavors of the DMV? What was the best food that you did taste? I saw you talk about on Twitter a little bit, and just tell us about how it was, and who'd you get to meet?
So flavors of the DMV actually went really well. Of course, I was a little nervous, coming up. When I pulled up into the parking lot, I was sitting in the car, kind of just wasting a little bit of time, checking some work emails. And a gentleman came up to me and he's like, Keith, is that you? And I'm like, yep, that's me. And he's like, man, I'm sorry to come off a little weird, but I really wanted to meet you. And And I'm like, oh man, no, let's not start this. You know, like
You about to get a punch in the face.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, oh, is that what
It
you're
ends up
wanting?
being Rev.
Oh man, don't even get me started. So I'm knuckling up, you know, down about to open my door. Like, no, it wasn't that serious, but you know, started talking to the guy, and I'm like, man, this is weird to me, you know, that people are recognizing me from Twitter and know that, you know, back in the day I used to troll hard and have a good time, and now here I am, fan ambassador. How does that work out, you know? And so anyways, you know, we get up there and listen, you know, Joey made us feel at home. For the people that don't know, he's the vice president. I've been saying it wrong for weeks, man, just because I've been calling him vice president of guest services and, you know, janitorial, and, you know, I'm just kidding. just kidding, Joey, if you're listening. Just kidding.
He's the gatekeeper.
Yeah, but vice president of guest experience. And that's exactly what he did. I was a guest. He made us all feel at home. I got to meet some of the other fan ambassadors. For the ones that don't know, it was community and culinary that got to group together to do this event. And it was 22 vendors that were there. Okay. And in those 22, there was actually some folks who were looking to sell their own liquor as well.
Oh, crap.
And we had no problem trying it. And, you know, and we did. So, you know, long story short, Joey just really made us feel at home. There was a lot going on, you know, at different times. And I was kind of like, all right, let's start this food tasting thing going. I think everyone knows that I have a palate of a 6-year-old, right? But as a fan ambassador, I've got a duty to the Washingtonians.
Got to suck it up. You got to eat more than chicken nuggets.
I got to eat a falafel, and I have to be honest with you. I'm like, no, I feel fucking awful for eating this. Okay, because this ain't my style of food, but I had to try it. And no offense to it was pretty good. I ate some foods that I normally wouldn't eat, where I was like, okay, I can open my palate up a little bit. I don't have to eat dry nuggets for the rest of my life.
So Washington is like trying to help Keith out with his food palate.
Yeah,
exactly.
You got to expand your horizons a little bit. And for those of you who don't know, just go back on Keith's Twitter, and every day it's like, who eats broccoli? Broccoli, what is that? You guys are weird. Who puts Old Bay on stuff? You guys are gross.
Right. And people will take pictures and tweet to me, and I'm like, oh, that looks gross, man. Like, that is awful, dude. Like, what happened to pizza and steak? Like, everybody's like, this one guy was showing me like coleslaw, and in the coleslaw it had like exactly. Yeah. Like,
I'm a coleslaw guy.
No.
Anyway, so
very white. Very white.
Yeah. You are a coleslaw guy, aren't you?
I'd look like coleslaw guy.
Yeah, you look like you eat coleslaw.
Yeah, I do.
So anyways, long story short, man, they weren't just giving us samples, they were giving us plates.
Oh,
right. And that was the hard part, because now I'm at this event that you give me a plate of food, I'm hungry, right? So I start eating, but then I'm like, at some point, how am I going to get to the 21 other people?
Right.
So I was sneaking food to the trash, right?
Yeah, you don't want to be rude and waste it.
Right. Well, no, I'm sneaking it to the trash. And so Joey comes up, and I'm like, Joey, I don't know if I can handle all of this food. And he's like, I'll do what I do, you know, throw it away. And I'm like, damn, Joey, you know, so yeah. So basically what I did was I tried all 22, and listen, I picked things that the way that I looked at it was, is it food that could sell? Okay, that could get sales in a stadium. Is it the right food for, you know, a football game? Did it taste well? You know, was it good? Yeah, that was about it. And so I went to, so I ended up getting it all. And honestly, what got me on my choices, I did pick 2 seafoods, but they were different. All right. So the first one was this crab roll, which was really, really good. Right. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's that's it.
Crab roll. Was it like sushi, or was it like?
No, it wasn't sushi. Well, okay. No, it was, no, it wasn't sushi, but it was like a spring roll. Right.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah. Like you get at the Chinese joints. Yeah. And it was really, really good. And
that sounds delicious.
I know.
I don't hate crab. I just hate blue crab. I hate all the work that you have to do just to eat a little bit of meat. And so that's why I put that out there. Like, that's too much work for me, man. I'm lazy. Mike Hall, are you sleeping?
He might be frozen right now.
Oh my God, that would be so funny if he was asleep right now.
Dude,
Yeah,
that
he
would
looked
be.
like he's sleeping.
He looks like he's sleeping.
Oh, there he
he's
goes.
frozen.
Oh, it literally just looked like you were passed out the entire
Yeah.
time.
He's awake now.
He put on a screensaver. Yeah.
So yeah, he's like, "What is this guy talking about?" Food?
It's like
I
my
don't
son in
care."
school. Yeah, that's what he did during Zoom
But-
calls.
So the other one, now everyone knows my palate, right?
Right.
I hate anything spicy. Okay, can't stand it. It's just not my style. But I had some jerk chicken, some jerk shrimp. There was some jerks there, and I ate
jerk
that.
is good. Yep.
Right. And I'm telling you, I actually finished that whole plate. I did not want to throw it away. And I
Wow.
said, that right there tells me that if I can eat this, that this is something that I think would be good for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that's how I based my decision on that. And then, not gonna lie, the third one, I'm like, man, I gotta go chicken tenders, man. This shit was good.
A good chicken tender is
Hey,
amazing though.
and
Like, you
it
can't go
is-
wrong with it.
it's
It's so
smart.
versatile.
It's smart. Exactly, and it's smart for Washington to offer y'all liquor because it kind of puts you in the mindset of game day when we're tailgating drunk and ready to eat.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, those were my choices there. But, listen, all of them that were there, they were super friendly. They worked hard to prepare what they did to try to get a contract for this. So kudos to all of them. If they could all be there, absolutely bring it. Because again, I did try different foods that I would never eat on a normal, basis, and it was good food. I'm just going to stay true to me and vote what I would eat and on certain things, but then also take into consideration other people as well. And that's how I looked at it. So,
Okay. Well, good for you. I'm proud of you, Keith. I remember when I saw the pictures, I was like, oh no, Keith's gonna make him serve chicken nuggets and French fries and dino nuggies and all sorts of stuff.
Bro, they served me a vegetarian burger. Never had anything like that before in my life.
Yeah. Oh wow, was it good?
I didn't choose it because I ain't a
Right.
rabbit and I'm not trying to eat.
My food eats vegetarian food.
Right. But I mean, they were selling me like hell. Like, hey, we were on Shark Tank. And I'm like, that's cool, but I'm not a vegetarian, And
right.
sorry. I'm sorry, vegetarians and vegans out there, but it just wasn't my thing.
Keep messing with me. You're gonna be in a Shark Tank in a second if you don't back off. Keep bugging me for that food.
So it was really, really cool. Now, the people there that I got to meet, sadly, I had been bragging about meeting Doug Williams because the guy is like my damn hero, because I'm old. But you remember, I'm not only old, though, I'm cool as shit.
Yeah.
So, Doug Williams wasn't there. And I was like, damn, that's kind of a letdown. And I was even going to be like, what happened, Joey? You flaunting Doug Williams in my face and Doug's not here. I just wanted to cuddle on his shoulder for a little bit, and tell him how much I love him, but he wasn't there. Instead, our boy Fred Smoot was there.
Yeah?
Super friendly as usual, funny as hell. Literally I asked him, I'm like, hey Fred, I hate to do this, man, but can I get a picture with you? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, so you want to go cheek to cheek? And I had to think about it. I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
Do I want?
And he's like,
He's
"You
not talking
want
about the
some-"
one in your face.
Yeah. You're like,
Right.
you're gonna turn around and bump butts for a second.
Well,
What's
and
going on?
hey, listen, that's Fred Smoot. I'll do whatever.
Yeah, I don't care.
Just
I've
don't
seen
tell
him love
anybody.
boat. Yeah.
Just don't go on a boat with him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Good call,
Kyle. You talk
man.
about me making inappropriate
Oh,
jokes.
come that's not
Yeah.
inappropriate.
Hey, listen,
happened.
he's
It's
made
true.
jokes about it on other people's podcasts.
I know.
so
He's
it's
got a
out
good
there.
sense of humor.
But yeah, he's like cheek to cheek, and I'm like, man, however you want to do it. I just, I need a snappy. I'm like, this is bragging rights for me, and he starts laughing, and he goes on about his business. And like I said, it was just more of us ambassadors getting together, getting to know each other, and Joey was mingling in between, and he just made us feel real comfortable. A lot of us have never done anything like this before, and they bragged about us and kind of made us feel a part of what's going on, because there was other tasters there. We weren't the only people that were voting on this either.
Right.
So just so folks know.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's other people that are involved with it. But Keith,
Yeah.
let's bring this back to the football side. Because one question I wanted to ask you, because like even you and I have talked about this before with Ron Rivera talking about the quarterback competition, and to finish off minicamp, he said heading into training camp, this is an open quarterback competition. Obviously, Fitzpatrick has the leg up. How much validity do you put into it, Keith, honestly? And do you expect anything to change by the start of the season?
Yeah, I hold zero validity. I think Coach is just saying the right things to make everyone feel comfortable. I think both QBs also know the real deal, right? These are just the types of things that you say during this time of football. However, I will say, I wasn't very high on Heineke. A lot of us weren't, and then there were a lot of us that were. I wasn't high, but I respect the fact that this man came in, he beefed up, right? It looks like he is taking his position very seriously. He's learning a lot of stuff. He's out there working hard, and man, I can't I can't hate on that. The only thing I can do is respect that. And we just talked about it earlier, same type of topic. Listen, Fitzpatrick, I believe, is going to get the starting position no matter what, right? And I do believe it's because of his NFL experience. But listen, if this guy does what we all know that he can kind of tend to do, which is throw those interceptions, right? And he has a bad game, there's nothing saying that Heineke can't come in.
Right.
And there's nothing saying that Heineke can't play for the next few games. And if he does well, man, it's going to tell us a lot, and I don't know. So I say, yeah, no, there's no validity to it now, but that's not to say that it can't change during the season if Fitzpatrick's not playing well. And listen, we might have, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but we might have a gem sitting at number 2, and we just don't know yet. So I don't want to say that Fitzpatrick, that I hope he gets hurt or plays bad, because that's not the way that I roll in this. But if it just so happens, I'd like to get some answers on Heineke before we toss him, to someone else.
Right.
And if he plays with that same level of intensity that he played in that Tampa game, man, maybe we're sitting on a quarterback that we didn't know we truly had. And, we've been searching for years. So why not keep on the Heineke train? Weird to say, but why not?
Yeah.
We just got to see what he can do. But, we're not going to see that until we know what we're getting with Fitzpatrick.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And speaking of Fitzpatrick, Washington, of course, they made a bunch of offseason acquisitions, whether it's just through free agency or the draft. And Washington really improved its roster. But I just want to get your opinion on this. Rookie or offseason acquisition, which player are you most excited to see this upcoming season?
Davis.
Yeah, Jamin Davis. There you go.
Yeah, I have to say it. I mean, that to me, that's the quarterback of the defense.
Yep.
Again, we're building on a defense that's already top 5, top 3. I don't even know what they are, but now we're adding him, and obviously that was a position in need.
Yep.
So I can't help but to roll with that pick and see how these guys get together. I'm not expecting much out of offense, even though, we did, of course, sign, Curtis Samuel, and we've got some offensive threats out there. And I think we're going to have some surprises too, just like we had, this past year. But man, I'm riding with the defense. I want to see the defense be nasty. I want that Baltimore looking defense.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Eat them. I'm tired of quarterbacks. I'm tired of the quarterbacks throwing on us on 3rd and long, and we looking stupid in the backfield. I want these guys to eat up front. Just eat them alive, and then just keep going.
Just nobody go to a club with Jamin Davis, all right? Because you will get that turned on you like Ray Lewis did. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, or yeah.
Allegedly.
Well,
there you go. Saved it.
Or Haskins.
Or Haskins. Yeah, you can't go anywhere with Dwayne.
Haskins loved that COVID booty.
Yeah.
COVID booty.
COVID booty.
And sticking with the defense, or sticking with the acquisitions of the offseason, they picked up William Jackson to add to the defense, Bobby McCain, Curtis Samuel to add to the offense, Adam Humphries. Who of the free agents do you think will have the biggest impact on this team this upcoming season?
Besides quarterback.
Yeah, besides.
So, honestly, I can't answer that. I think a lot of people want to see superstars out of these guys. I don't. I want to see collective. All these guys do well, right? Together as a team. So, to be honest, I don't do research on a lot of these guys, so I don't know. I don't have stat numbers in my head of what they've done in their past. I'm just not that guy, right? I'm just not. But collectively, when you take a look, we didn't grab superstars. A lot of people keep putting Samuel in superstar status, and I think we should dial back on that.
Yeah,
I think what we need to look at is putting these guys in a collective status of how well they're going to play with each other.
Correct.
And I think that, again, our 3rd round pick too, playing, he's doing very well. He's getting a lot of hype. Yep. St. Juice is killing it. And, a lot of people.
And Diami Brown.
Yeah. Well, that I think was to be, kind of like, all right, we got our guy.
Yeah.
People were huffing and puffing it.
They were upset.
They were upset with that 3rd round
St.
pick.
Juice. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now what St. Juice is showing is that I'm worth a 3rd round pick. And it's also showing that the staff that decided to choose this man knew what the hell that they were doing.
Yep.
And this should tell you that no one should listen to it. Well, Kyle, you got some good Twitter. I don't really argue with you on Twitter because you got some great points on these college guys. And I'm like, man, I'm way out of my realm. Kyle will eat me alive. I'll troll him on. I'll troll him on something else. Let me get him on something else. I can't do it with the college guys because this guy's like, all right, week 1, break it down such and such. And I'm like, oh man, fuck you, Kyle.
Times I whisper that to myself every day.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
fuck
You know,
Kyle. God damn
fuck
it.
you,
Every day.
Kyle.
You should
He's like,
talk to my wife.
do you see the way he digs his? Do you see the way he digs his Achilles heels and he backpedals backwards and he could run a 40 and going backwards at a 5.9 and I'm just like, Kyle, shut the fuck up. I don't know what you're talking about. This is way beyond me.
Can he play or not, Kyle? Come on.
Can he play? Like, Kyle, tell me some good shit. Like, is he good?
Is
That's
he
all
good?
I want to know. Is he good? Is he going to be good for our team? Jesus.
Right.
No, but everyone shit on the 3rd round pick. Let's just be honest.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we're not, and it's proven to be different, and I'm excited about that because he's playing the way I feel a 3rd round player should be playing, and also how he's being praised. So listen, man, it's just. It's gonna be, I can't troll anymore, man. I have to turn raw.
I was gonna say that this last 3 months has been crazy, the change in you.
Insane.
Yeah.
Well,
it is insane.
I've always told people though, like, I'll stop pulling my BS if we start winning, because how can I make fun of a winning team? Oh, we're really good. Yeah, real good. We won today. Great. Like, you can't troll that. But if we lose, like, great fucking job. Fucking fumble, throwing interceptions. Fuck your beard. Go shave that shit. Having cicadas and bugs and shit crawling in your beard, you sicko. And you need to be reading your playbook.
And to your credit, Keith, I will say I've seen a lot of parallels with the Benjamin St. Juste pick with the Antonio Gibson pick from last year, where everyone was sitting here like, why did you make that pick that high up? We have running backs, we have corners.
A crowded room already.
Yeah, and then you end up seeing the future. Except for you, Mike. I know, of course, Hall. Hall, you got to get that in there. But to wrap this up, Keith, because I can't have you on for much longer. I know that you're very tired. You already recorded your own episode.
No. I know you're very busy and you got other shit going on, so you're gonna boot me out of here. I get it.
What we all wanted to do, actually, Keith, was me and Hall were gonna call you a bum, and Kyle was gonna say that
that's a true dream. That is dude. Listen, that is a true dream. Real quick before you let me go, that is a true dream, and here's why. Because Kyle reached out and he's like, "Hey, can when you guys record?" And I'm like, at 4. He's like, "Hey, can you come on for about 15?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, absolutely. I love doing this shit." Right. And so next thing you know, man, I fall over, take a nap. Next thing you know, I got Kyle telling me my football takes are as trash as my food takes. You guys are calling me bums and shit. And like, I wake up and it's one of those, damn, did that really happen or not? So I'm like, I don't on Twitter. And then like you said something funny to me and I'm like, oh no, we cool. Okay.
That is hysterical. But
So
Keith,
good.
we started a new segment like Would You Rather. So I figured I would end this with you with a Would You Rather for you. Would you rather eat Old Bay blue crabs or go to a cookout at Kirk Cousins' house?
Oh, Old Bay all day. Give me the blue crabs. You ain't
gotta
catching
have
me.
some flavor in your food.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna pass. I want nothing to do with KC, man. I'll eat. No.
Why? He's a
Poor
good
old
guy.
KC, dude.
No. Hey, listen. I
going
got
to
nothing
church
bad to
trip
say
with
about
him,
that man personally, even though I did. But like, I'm
But
gonna lie.
he's so boring.
Listen, I just rather eat blue. I'm just gonna keep it like this. I'd rather eat blue crab with Old Bay.
You mean his pregame speeches didn't get you hyped up?
No. You listen. Quick story. I know you guys are on a time limit. Quick story.
Good.
Fine, dude.
I personally wanted to make sure that man's last go here in well, I say here like I live there, but in Washington was was going to be a last hurrah for me because I knew he wasn't going to be with the team. And so I put on my Griffin jersey. I went to that 106.7 fan event, and it was like great season Kirk Cousins fest, right?
Yeah.
And I had my run-ins. I'm not going to mention names, but anyways, I'm sitting down and I'm listening to this man absolutely lie to everyone. And then they had this lineup at the end where folks could ask questions, right? And so it was these kids, and he had this one kid, and he was, a super cute kid, and he's like, "Hi, Kirk, you're my favorite. I was just wondering, what's the chances you're gonna stay with the Redskins?" And then here's Kirk, "Well, I really like this team. It's gonna, really take some work between my age." And he's giving all this bull. Anyways, and I'm like, man, I'm done with this guy. I'm done. This is why I came here. And so when the event was over, I was like, "Goodbye, Kirk Cousins." And I walked out like a boss. See ya. Go take your, hey, listen, guy made 84 million and he's laughing at me. And he's like, go back to your $300,000 house and call it a day.
Hey, if you guys don't know, Keith is the head of the Kirk Cousins fan club. If you have any leftover Kirk Cousins jerseys that you bought, send them to his house. He's good.
Yeah, you guys are always sending you and everyone else sending people to my DMs to do horrible things to me.
If you like that shirt, send him his way.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate you having me on the show and
Keith.
just BSing with you for a few minutes. And
always
I'd love
good to have you on, Keith.
I'd love to have some of you guys come on mine. Yeah. But next time when you're not too good for me, I'll stay on for the whole hour.
Of course, brother. Hey, congratulations to you. I know you've had a great week. You deserve it. I hope you enjoy it. And make sure you keep kicking butt because there's a reason why they picked you, Keith. Seriously, you're doing a great job.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
All right, Keith, have a good one, brother.
All right. I love you guys.
All right, man.
Peace,
take it
brother.
easy.
All right, everybody, we just talked to the Keith Gray. I would think we all know at this point. Like, the first time we had Keith on, we introduced him as interim fan Keith. I think at this point, that name is completely gone. He's made a name for himself.
Yeah, I mean, nobody deserves that more than Keith, just with how well he knows people. And it's starting out as trolling, too, and like still being able to make friends on the internet. Like that says something about the guy, you know, because and not to mention he's got good football knowledge,
right?
You know? It's fun to be around.
Before we get into the fan questions and our would you rathers, we do this every week, every Tuesday and Thursday, the countdown to the NFL season. So there's 86 days left until the first game of the NFL season. So let's debate on who the best player in NFL history is to wear the number 86. And there's not a big list here, so it's going to be quick. But who do you think, Reed?
I'm gonna go with Hines Ward.
Yeah, man.
Hines Ward. I mean, there's really, like, when you really look at it, there's nobody else that you can really say.
I know Buchanan, the defensive tackle, was on there. I know he was. But with all due respect, I know I hate the Steelers. I cannot stand them at all. I truly believe it is Hines Ward. I think he does deserve that. He doesn't get enough credit for his career.
Mean, you look 4 Pro Bowls, 2-time Super Bowl champ, a 1-time Super Bowl MVP who finished with more receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns than Hall of Famers Lynn Swann and John Stallworth.
He was like the type of wide receiver like I would put in the category with like Anquan Bolden, you know, where he played like
he was tough.
He played wide receiver like a defensive tackle. It was crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean I got to go with Hines Ward. Like you said, just because literally like our friends that are Steelers fans, they just well, really just one actually, but he was always one of those Steelers that you kind of just got to respect just because like you said, the way he played the game, the effort he put in every week. He was never the biggest, he was never the fastest, never the tallest, never the most athletic, but he was a dog on the field, and you always had to respect what he brought to the game every single week. So definitely I would go with Hines Ward, and in my opinion, he should be like a fringe Hall of Famer, if not.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I mean, he was so solid for so long. Too. People forget that, and in that era, he was always forgotten about because you had like T.O. and Randy Moss and stuff. But
I mean, even on his own team, you had guys like Plexico Burris, Antonio Holmes, and guys like that. He was always getting underlooked, but he was always the rock that held that team together. He was always a leader in the locker room, leader on the field. He was always like the rah-rah guy, getting guys hyped up and making the big play, making the big hit on like linebackers and stuff like that. So definitely respect for Hines Ward.
Yeah, before they turned into the wide receiver factory that they are, it was literally Hines Ward there. Yeah. That was it. And obviously Santonio Holmes was the next one after that.
Well, but he was such a staple in that offense. You look at like it was him and Antoine Randall, then him and Santonio Holmes, and then just a bunch of people. Like,
that was going to be my good point. That was going to be my next point.
Plexico Burris at one point too.
Yeah.
They were literally like a revolving door of guys like Santonio, Plexico, Emmanuel Sanders, in and out. But that one staple was always there. They always had Hines Ward in there to be that veteran guy. The guy that's kind of show him the Steeler way, get the culture going for the receiver. So, like I said, definitely it has to be. I mean, it has to be Hines Ward.
Yeah, I remember one time my little brother asking me if their stadium was named after Hines Ward, Heinz Field. I was like,
hysterical.
I mean, it should be, honestly.
Yeah, I mean he's cool, but not that cool.
He's not that cool. He's not that cool. But before we get into the fan questions, I wanted to debate something because a lot of things have come out nationally in the past day, and one of those is that Hall's boy Dan Orlovsky and Louis Riddick both said that the Washington football team are favorites in their opinion to win the NFC East. So what I want to ask here is, because my opinion, I want to put this preface it out there, like whenever Washington has big expectations, they generally do not live up to them. It's when everyone considers them to be the bottom 5 team is when they really start to do well. Like evidence for that is 2015 with Kirk. 2012 with Robert. Before that, everyone thought that they were going to be a bottom feeder as well, but then they blew the league wide open. So, in your opinion, Reed, do you agree with Orlovsky and Riddick? And then the side question off of that, is this possibly a bad look for the team? Like, just with that in mind.
Right. Yeah. I think as Washington fans, based off of our past, I'm nervous to have any sort of expectations.
Right.
But when you really look at, like, if you really just break it down, I mean, I'm not even just being a homer. Like, this is the best team in the NFC East all the way around, just completely with the offseason acquisitions that they made. Of course, on paper, that doesn't really but that doesn't really mean anything. I mean, but I just like the coaching stuff that we have in place. I like all this. I do get worried, of course, because just from past experiences, but I do think that they are the best team in the NFC. So, and I think that they both brought up great points. It's good to see Dan Orlovsky and people finally respecting that this offense could make some big plays, and that's all we really need with this defense. So
yeah, like I don't think, like Phil said, the Cowboys fans earlier, like, you guys are acting like it's gonna be easy to walk the NFC East. Nope, nobody's acting like that. It's going to be difficult.
The Giants are going to be a borderline playoff team.
But I will say, I think Washington is the only team in the NFC East who has built their team in one offseason to their weaknesses and built them into strengths.
Right.
Nobody else in the NFC East really made moves to counter where their weaknesses are. Maybe Dallas, that's it with the getting of Michael
Giants
Parsons.
really improved their wide receiver room.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, that's really it, though.
And I wouldn't even put the Giants in there because the wide receiver room wasn't that big of a necessity for them. It was offensive line was their biggest concern. But then with Philly, what did they need last year? They needed wide receivers. So they go out and they draft Devontae Smith in the first round, which makes a lot of sense. But I feel like Washington is the only team that has really built their weaknesses into a strength in one offseason. That's why I don't think they're far-fetched for saying it at all. I think they're smart. I think Dan Orlovsky's probably piggybacking off of other people because he wants to be smart. But, that's just me. But I know that's your boy, Hall.
We saw you playing on the field, Dan Orlovsky. We know what's up.
Such an Orlovsky hater.
Dude, I don't understand why he yells. Every time he's on TV, he's just yelling at the camera. I'm like, dude, calm down.
Sometimes I love him. Sometimes he really irks me.
Man, he's passionate.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm kind of like on both sides of the fence in this because, like you said, due to like past teams that had expectations put on them, they just came out and fell flat on their face. And I mean, look, it is the reason why where we are at today, because when you put expectations on this team, they come out, they flop, they fall flat on their face. They don't live up nearly anywhere near to the expectations that the national media and other people put on them. And that became like a kind of like a, not like a blackout for Washington, the national media, but I mean, it never got talked about in the national media. And for them to be talked about in the national media now, it's kind of like makes me like, brings a little bit of joy to my heart. Cause I'm like, finally they're getting like the respect from like the outside world, outside of the DMV and outside of like the other fans in different states, but they're actually getting like national recognition. They're like people's kind of sleeper team in the NFC.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, like you said, I'm kind of like the expectations thing kind of makes me worried, but I have faith that Ron Rivera and his coaching staff are not going to be like the Jay Grudens and the other past coaches of the last regimes, where they're kind of like
let things get out of hand.
Exactly.
Right.
Ron Rivera's not going to let them get too big-headed.
He's got a control of things.
Exactly. He's not going to let them run rampant, get them too big-headed, get too high, get too low. It's always going to be, look, take it week by week, take it game by game, snap by snap. And I think that it bodes well for this team. So I'm kind of happy that they're getting their recognition. And as far as them being the best team in the NFC East, you saw me and Phil were going back and forth in this earlier. I think it's obvious it comes down to us and the Cowboys. I do think the Giants are kind of like that sneaky kind of creep up out of nowhere.
It depends on Daniel Jones.
Exactly. It depends on Daniel Jones. But if he can play mediocre to good, they'll have a shot at NFC East. But I just believe that our defense, like you said, we built our weaknesses into strengths in this offseason. We built the linebacking core, even though we only added Jamin Davis. I think that it's still a big add.
Yeah.
We added more speed on offense with Curtis Samuels and De'Ami Brown. We added more length and more size at the cornerback position. So I just think that overall, we have the best roster from top to bottom.
Yeah.
We have the best coaching staff from top to bottom. And it's just going to come down to, like any other team in any other game in the NFL, is going to come down to quarterback play and what can fit give to us.
Right. I don't even understand how people could say that the Cowboys have a better all-around roster than us. Like, if you look at us, we have an elite defense and we should have a middle-of-the-road offense. Dallas should have an elite offense, but a very, very bottom of the barrel defense. I mean, that's just, it is what it is. And our coaching staff's better. So
one draft pick at cornerback who's a rookie and one rookie linebacker, even though
I
like Micah
Parsons. I love Micah Parsons. He's a beast.
Playmaker, he's a beast.
They're going to have fantastic linebackers, but
you can't expect two rookies to come in and change the whole face of your defense and just make them a
right. And that was my point. Yeah.
And people are hyping up Dan Quinn. Oh, well, look what he did in Seattle, and he's getting the pieces that he needs. And have you seen Atlanta's defense the past 2 to 3 years? I'm
Right.
pretty sure they've been bottom of the league, and he built that defense in Seattle, in his eyes of Seattle.
Right.
What they've done. So pump the brakes on Dan Quinn, but I'm also going to pump the brakes on them being the top favorite in the NFC East. But I do think that they're just by a smidge above Cowboys right now.
Yeah, the Cowboys fans should be more concerned about their backup running back being the better one than their starting running back getting paid all that money to be terrible. Now, that being said, let's move on to our fan questions. And we have to start with the Colonel, none other. I was able to go visit him up on the mountain this past weekend. It was a lot of fun to be able to talk with him and everything. His question for us, the first one is, do you see a free agent veteran that we could benefit from that's still available that we should be pursuing? Hall.
Yeah, I mean, I'll stick to what I've been saying. KJ Wright's still out there. I mean, I think that, like we just talked about, we definitely improved the linebacker core with adding Jamin Davis. We got a lot more speed on the defense side of the ball. But if you got the wily vet like KJ Wright, a guy who's been there, done that, Super Bowl champion, a guy that's always been at the top of his position in the NFL, he can come in, also teach the younger linebackers in this core how to, I guess, not play the position, but play the position the right way, play it like a hard-nosed way, also while playing fast. And yeah, I just think that he can add a lot to this defense. He'll put them over the edge as far as they're being like a top 2, top 3 defense. And if I had to pick anybody, I would probably go with KJ Wright.
Yeah, my tune has changed, Colonel, after talking with some guests. I do not think that they are going to be signing any free agents at this point. Now, that being said, if something happens with Antonio Gibson, if that turf toe gets worse, or an injury happens to J.D. McKissick or Jared Patterson, Lord forgive, I think that they should go after Todd Gurley. Or did he already sign?
No, he's still out there.
Go after a guy like that. That's somebody you could bring in that you know is a backup but could come in and grab those carries and still contribute in a good way. Right now, we got a bunch of running backs with question marks of being the bell cow kind of back. So if something worsens with Antonio Gibson, I think Todd Gurley, the running back room, is probably the best place for it. Besides that, I don't think they need to add anybody else because we've seen that they like the younger approach. I like to see, let our guys prove it. Let's see what they're capable of rather than going to get vets to play in right away over top of them. Let's see what they can earn. So I don't think that they're going to be signing anyone else. I think we're heading into a training camp pretty much ready to go.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I think that if there is anybody, like you could really look at linebacker, Kyle, like you said, running back. I don't see it really happening now though. Like with the edge defenders especially, like there's still Melvin Ingram, Justin Houston, some guys out there, but they just don't. You can tell Washington wants to be younger and more athletic. So
right.
I really don't think it will happen. But I mean, hey, who knows? I mean, there's anything could happen if there's anything goes down. There's still like Mitchell Schwartz, Russell Okun is out there. Who knows if just in case something happens. Richard Sherman's still out there.
Yep.
I mean, there's still some good players but not necessarily players that we need right now. And I think that's a good problem to have. That means that our roster is better.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with that statement. That's spot on. The next question from Colonel is, 1 year from now, will we be the Washington football team or some goofy ass name like the Red Wolves?
I unfortunately think we're going to be some goofy ass name, but I don't know if no matter what, I feel like when they change it, it's going to be weird. Like even if it's a decent name, like it's just going to be so weird to get used to. But Washington football team was kind of weird. I think that they do want to incorporate like the military and stuff like that in it. So I think that they are going to come up with something. But I hope to God it's not something stupid like Red Wolves or like the Washington Denzels.
Right.
Like that's not cool.
And I think I think you're right. From a year from now, no, I do not think that we'll be the Red Wolves. I don't think we'll be the Washington football team. I really hope not because they'll be doing what the Wizards did. And that will be literally just picking the worst name possible and throwing it out there because that's what they want. I don't want a goofy-ass name like the Red Wolves because I put on the same pedestal as Wizards. That should have never happened. We should have stayed the Bullets. I don't care. I understand the crime. There's crime all over the world, okay? Why are we doing this with sports teams? This is stupid. That being said, I know I'm going on a random tangent, but I don't think so. I don't think it'll be Warriors. I think that it'll be something new that we didn't think of that nobody has even like really brought up and that they have marketed and done really well. But I do think a year from now we will have a new name and we'll be in full steam ahead and getting it rebranded and getting it marketed.
Yeah, 100%. I think that they're going to announce a new name probably, if not during the season, it'll be like towards the end of the season. Maybe, God forbid, if they're like somehow out of the playoffs by the last couple of weeks of the season. Maybe the expectations, they don't live up to expectations. They got to get the buzz going about the team again. That's when they throw the new name out there, get people talking about it again. But like you said, by this time next year, I mean, we're what 6 weeks away from training camp, something like that, 8 weeks away, whatever it is. They're definitely gonna have the new name by then because like they're gonna want to sell stuff down at training camp. They're gonna want to all the merchandise, get ready, stuff like that. But
the draft picks are gonna want to have and new merch.
Exactly. So
especially if it's a quarterback if they take in the first round. Woo!
Yeah. And with that with all that being said, I just have two things that would really just grind my gears. If they leave it, Washington football team, I wouldn't have as big a problem with that because I've kind of grown to just kind of accept that at this point. If they change it to some type of FC or like football club type of thing, I will be highly pissed because it's football, not soccer.
Yeah.
And if they change it to something like these, like the Red Wolves or like some type of just like
beta animal,
whack,
like the Wild Hogs, right?
Like, I mean, even if it's like the Red Hogs, I'd be like, you know what, I'd be okay with that. But
yeah,
it's like goofy ass, like
forced little.
I'd be like, those are my two. Just kind of like, don't go there. So don't make it some type of FC football club thing. Don't make it some goofy ass like animal type of like Red Wolf type thing.
Right.
Anything else with that, I'm cool with it.
Thank you, Colonel. Those were fantastic. And speaking of the Red Wolves, our next one is from Jeff Miles. You can follow him on Instagram at Jeff E. Miles. He actually designs like Red Wolves designs and stuff like that.
His designs are badass.
For the uniform. And he asked, he was like, I know you guys won't like my designs, but could you give out a shout out for everyone to follow me on Instagram?
And I said, they are nice.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, dude, I have no disrespect for your designs. I think they're great. My whole argument is that the designs that are made for the Red Wolves can be used for any other name, and so your design doesn't give validation to the Red Wolf name. It's more of an indication of how good of an artist you are. So yes, I will love to give you a shout out, Jeff. So please go follow him on Instagram at Jeff E. Miles.
Before we move on from this, I want to get you, because I know this name's been thrown out there. I mean, since it's been thrown out there, it's probably not going to be one of the names they pick. But I know people have been throwing out the Commanders. What do y'all think about that?
It's not bad. It's I really do like it. It's better than Renegade, because I know Renegade sounds really good, but by definition that means like traitor and stuff like that. It's not really something you can market. But the Commanders, I actually would like that. I would get behind that.
It's got a powerful name. It's got a military tie and stuff. I could see that being something like that. Yeah.
I would definitely. I
wouldn't be mad.
Like you said, like New Jersey, no whole new like theme and everything like that. But same colors, obviously. But again, since the Commanders has been thrown out there, it's probably not going to be one of the names that's like makes it. So
you're right, of course. Now Jeff's question for us is: would you rather catch the Super Bowl winning touchdown on the last play of the game, or hit a 3-point buzzer beater to win the finals in Game 7?
Paul. Man, it's tough because I'm a big basketball guy and I'm a huge football guy.
You're just a huge guy.
Which one do I value more? I'd probably go with catching the game-winning pass in the Super Bowl, just because I grew up playing basketball. I mean, football. That was always like my first like sport that I got into, and I kind of like excelled more in football than basketball. And again, as a little kid, who didn't think of like catching the game-winning pass in like a game and like the crowd going crazy and everyone like lift you up and cheering, getting the Gatorade dumped on you? So I would go with the Super Bowl game-winning catch.
Yeah, same with me, especially if it's for Washington, because that would mean I'm celebrating a Super Bowl, and that was the reason for it. And plus, like with basketball, there's 7 games in that series. I understand it comes down 3-3. It's huge. But, like, there's so many things that happen in that series. I understand it comes down to that game-winning shot. But everyone will always say, well, this happened in Game 2 and 3 if that didn't happen. So I'd rather go with the Super Bowl just because it's that one slam, like, big, huge, like, yeah, this happened.
Yeah, one and done instead of just like, oh, I got to beat you more than once.
Right.
It's like, nope, I beat you once. Get out of here.
So yeah, it's Game 7 of the NBA Finals. So I mean, to be honest, I would rather catch a Super Bowl touchdown, game-winning Super Bowl touchdown, but I'll switch it up a little bit. There's no better feeling in the world than hitting a buzzer beater. We've all done that when we were kids, turning around 3, 2, 1, you shooting, and you see how hyped those arenas get, especially during Game 7. Like the energy, that's got to be such an amazing feeling. Like
I've been to one playoff game for NBA, and that was the Wizards when Paul Pierce almost hit the game winner buzzer, but he stepped on the line. You remember
Okay.
that?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll go with that, even though, and I'm not really going with that because in real life I'd rather
Right.
catch a touchdown.
But I will say the atmosphere, the environment at that playoff game was
Yeah.
incredible. Absolutely. I couldn't
Also-
imagine what it's like for like Chicago in mid 90s. That must have been insane.
Yeah, I will say also one of like the like most hypest like kind of like sports moments I've had in like my recent memory was that game winning it was a game winning shot John Wall hit in that playoff
Yeah.
game.
And he stood on
Right.
the table.
On the jump,
Mhm.
like, beating his chest. Like that
Yeah.
jump got me hyped.
This
as
is my
shit. So,
city. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was a
shit got me
great
hyped.
time.
So like
Mhm.
I'm still going Super Bowl just because I like
Yeah.
football.
Same with
This
all
is-
Gilbert
these are
Arenas'.
better.
Gilbert Arenas' were so nice back in the day.
He was
Right.
hitting like 30-foot like game.
Mm-hmm. He would just
All
turn
right.
around.
Let's move on to our boy Andy Burroughs. Oi! In the UK.
Oi.
He wants to know, is there anyone on a rookie deal you feel would overprice himself when negotiating a deal?
For Washington?
Yeah.
I would say no, only for the simple fact of Ron Rivera's kind of got his core guys. He's pretty much flipped the whole roster all the way around with young guys. He's brought in a lot of young guys, and they fit the mold of a Ron Rivera guy that's going to come to work every day, put his head down, bring his lunch pail to work, play hard nosed, about his teammates, not about himself. So I don't think that they are, which is a good thing because I mean, look at all these teams in the past. It's been ridiculous.
Look, I've been on record with saying this for a while, and I don't mean any disrespect by it, but yes, it's Deron Payne. It's something that I have been worried about because when you have to re-sign all of these guys, you get to a point where you're kind of pushed out of the realm of this being a possibility. And having a player be stubborn in a way to say, I'm getting as much as I possibly can based on what the market is telling me, I think that's going to be Deron Payne more likely than anyone else. I think Montez Sweat would know that he can't be the number one and get the same amount of production he got before, so he'd take a pay cut to stay with Chase Young on the other side. Jonathan Allen, I don't think that he would be somebody that would overprice himself. Deron Payne, obviously, I have to put the caveat. I've never talked to him. Never had a conversation. Never gotten to gauge how he loves this team. But I will say that's the one person that I'm concerned about with getting a contract extension done. And that's why I've always said, if we're going to go and trade for a quarterback, I think Deron Payne would be the one guy that they would have to go away with. And I'm not saying I don't want Deron Payne. I just am worried that he's going to be the one that really wants top dollar.
Right. Yeah, I completely see what you're saying. I think that it's pretty well established. Washington has a lot of good young players. They got a lot of good guys to build around. So I don't think anybody will necessarily like not deserve the money that they asked for. But I think Kyle's right. If anybody is going to end up possibly being the odd man out because of a contract, it would be Deron Payne. And that sucks to say because obviously we love Deron Payne. But yeah, that it would just end up being a numbers game at that point.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like they'd be priced out of it.
Yeah.
And to even like add on that, I could kind of see where you're coming from. Also for the simple fact of, again, maybe this team doesn't live up to expectations. Maybe he's thinking like, if I go somewhere else, I can be on a contender, I can be on a winner, I can get to the playoffs, I can do this, that, and the third. So that definitely could factor in. If maybe if we're not as good as everyone thinks we're going to be, maybe he's like, well, I'm tired of being here. I want to go somewhere else to actually win some games and make playoff runs, maybe make Super Bowls. So, but I just think that, like I said, I just think that he sees what we're building here. He's been here for like the low of the lows, and he sees we're about to get hopefully to the highs of the highs. So hopefully he doesn't price himself out. But I mean, I guess you're right. If there was anybody on the team, it could obviously be the D line because they're the deepest. So it would have to be maybe Deron Payne.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Andy's next one, but I'm not going to really go over it because I wanted to make sure it's all three of us. But he said, would you rather be Hall or Reed for 24 hours? And I'm not going to answer that one out of
Okay,
respect for you
first
two.
of all, Kyle, you will never be me. Okay, so get that through your head right now.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Andy.
That is a good one. Yeah,
I know.
you don't want to be me either, man. You don't wanna
I'd be
stuck in this
asleep in
bind.
6.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Our first ever question from a guy that's on Twitter. Everyone knows Michael Haas. Thank you so much, Michael. He wants us to discuss Cam Curl and the Buffalo nickel package that he's been so talked about in the last couple days. Do you think that Cam Curl's going to be strictly playing that Buffalo nickel this season, Hall?
No, I think that again, Ron Rivera loves versatility. I think he's going to get moved around. I think yes, his primary position might be the Buffalo, might be strong safety, but I definitely think that they're going to play to his strengths, and his strength is kind of playing that Buffalo kind of in the box, close to the line of scrimmage type of game. So, yeah, I mean, you see what he did last year: 2 interceptions, interception return for a touchdown, fumble recovery. I think he had something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Making tackles left and right, breaking up passes left and right, and it all came around that inside the box around the line of scrimmage. So that's where he's most comfortable at. That's where he plays his best football at. So I definitely think that's going to be his, I guess, primary position.
Yeah, look, when I watched Cam Curl's film after we drafted him, my nickname for him was the plug, and that wasn't based on like the pop culture definition. It was because the way that you fill run lanes is by plugging the gap, almost like a broken water main break, right? And that's how you're looking at the running game. You have to stop that broken water main pipe. You plug it, right? And that's what Cam Curl is. He was fantastic at coming up at the line of scrimmage and wrapping up ball carriers. That's where he should stay. And that's where I think that he kind of gels into this defense. So the Buffalo nickel is perfect for where he is, but he's shown that he's versatile, Michael. He's shown that he can go up and play Zach Ertz one-on-one on the outside and get a pick off of it. He's shown that he can scoop and score. He's shown that he can go deflect passes and blitz the passer and come up and make tackles. I love me some Cam Curl. I hope he stays exactly what he was doing, and I think that I truly believe that Landon Collins is going to be used as a specialty linebacker in pass situations and used predominantly as a blitzer. That's where he looked the best last season. I could really see them doing that this year.
Yeah, I mean, you guys basically touched all the points. I completely agree with you guys. And yeah, look, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? I mean, Cam Curl was fantastic at that position last year, but he was also fantastic just moving all over the field. So I think they're going to do the same thing with him.
Yeah, dude, 88 tackles and not even in 16 games is absolutely ridiculous.
For safety.
It shows how good Cam Curl is, but it also showed how bad our rush defense linebackers were last season. Yeah. That strong safety should not have to come up and bail you out that many times. That should never happen. Now, his next one is he wants to talk about Khaleke Hudson. So, Hall, do you think Khaleke Hudson's going to be playing this year, get some time? How much time? And do you think he's going to have a big impact?
We talked about this last week. As far as big impact, I don't think, because I think big impact would be multiple sacks. I wouldn't even say double. I'd say plus 20 tackles. Yeah, something like that. Maybe a couple of pass deflections, maybe a turnover or two for him here or there. But I do definitely think he'll be in the rotation as far as a player that gets in. You saw last year towards the end of the year, he was kind of getting onto the field a little bit more on the defense, kind of making plays here and there. But again, he's a huge special team piece. So he'll definitely be on the field for special teams 100%. Yeah. That's where he's made his mark so far on this team. But as he grows more and more on this defense, more and more under Ron Rivera and the rest of his coaching staff, I do definitely think that he'll make his mark on this team. Maybe I'd probably say about week 5 to 6 he might be on the field in rotation.
Yeah, that makes sense. I will say I think John Bostic is the backup to Jamin Davis, and then Khaleke Hudson is the backup to Cole Holcomb. I think that would fit his bill a lot, but I also would slot Khaleke Hudson as the backup for Landon Collins as that specialty passing kind of linebacker that could come in for those empty sets and be able to line up on tight ends or a running back in case something happens, with the coverage. So I would love for Khaleke Hudson to be used in that sort of capacity. I think that really works well for him. They got him into a rhythm late last season, but I think Landon Collins does throw a wrinkle into that because I think he can do a lot of what Khaleke Hudson does. That all comes down to health.
Yeah, I really like Khaleke Hudson. I definitely think that Khaleke Hudson has a role on this team. I think that he'll have a pretty good one as somebody who's not a non-starter. So, yeah, I think Khaleke Hudson will definitely play a good amount. Will he start? I mean, unless there's injuries or something. I don't think so, but I do think that he will make an impact. I mean, not huge, obviously, but he'll do his job.
Now, Michael's last question, and I'll start with you, Reed. Will Shaka Toney be what Ryan Anderson couldn't?
Yeah, I hope so. I really like Shaka Toney, especially just like his athleticism. Like that, I think that's going to be really the key with Chase Young and Montez Sweat being so athletic. Then having these young guys like William Bradley King and Shaka Toney coming onto the field, and really, you have a drop off in athleticism, obviously, but it's not as significant. I mean, Shaka Toney's numbers were incredible at his pro day. So he's a bit of a different player than Ryan Anderson, but I do think that I hope he'll be good. So I don't know, but I really hope so.
It is a little unfair to Ryan Anderson, I will say that. But yes, he will be more of a contributor as an edge rusher in that position. And it's unfortunate for Ryan because he was drafted here to be like a 3-4 linebacker, and we ended up changing with Ron Rivera and everything. So obviously it kind of threw him for a ride. It's unfortunate, but it happens in the NFL. But I do think that Shaka Toney can be a reliable, good backup pass rusher in this league. based on the film that we've all watched, and we all pretty much know good. And Hall had a lot of good things to say about Shaka Toney.
Yeah, I definitely think that if he can come in and play the run as well, if not better than Ryan Anderson, because that's where really what Ryan Anderson excelled at, playing the run. So if he can do that and just kind of not have a big drop off from Ryan Anderson playing the run, I definitely think that he'll make an impact and contribute. And if he can get a couple sacks here and there and kind of like get a couple QB pressures on him, on the opposing QB, then I definitely think that he has the potential to do that. Like you said, he's a 7th rounder, so I'm not going to put like the world of pressure on him and be like, he has to do this, he has to do that, because at the end of the day, there's a reason why he was drafted in the 7th round and not a 3rd, 4th round pick. So I wouldn't have like the world like meteoric pressure, like he has to be better than Ryan Anderson or else he's a bust. But I definitely think he has the potential to play the run just as good, if not better, than Ryan Anderson. And then at that point, it comes down to what have you learned from Montez Sweat and Chase Young as far as like defensive pass rush and defensive pass moves. So we'll see.
And and let's be real. The good thing about this question is the bar's not that high. You know, he doesn't have to do much to be better than Ryan Anderson. All he's got to do is show up for more than one game a season, and he should be surpassing.
Reed coming in with the wisdom. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, our next question is from Scott Hartley, the Inquirer. Over in the UK. He asked, do you think we will find the answer to the franchise quarterback question in the next 2 seasons, and will it be through the draft or a dropped-in vet quarterback with an already built team around him? And I'll start with you, Hall.
So my number one like hope would be that we somehow, some way could snag Deshaun Watson away from Houston next year. If everything clears up, he's allowed to play again, not this season, but like next season.
You should take massage lessons, get that license.
Hey, I mean, if they want to pay me, I'll do whatever it takes. Wait, not whatever it takes, pause. But no, but seriously though, I think that my dream scenario would be we could somehow pry Deshaun Watson away from Houston in 2022, drop him into this offense on this team, and we're automatically Super Bowl contenders. And if anyone thinks different, then you're just clearly a hater of the Washington football team / whatever they'll be next year. As far as drafting a quarterback, I definitely think that.
So he's asking either or. So is it going to be vet or rookie?
I think that someone else made this point. I think it was like Cakes on 106.7. I don't think Ron Rivera is in like the whole like I want to groom a guy. I want to like Ron Rivera's about like I want to win now. I want like the window for the team is wide open now, and with an open window like that, the best scenario would be drop an already established veteran guy that can plug and play. That's still kind of young. They can be here for a couple of years, but can plug and play and take this offense to the next level and his team to the next level. So I'll go with a young veteran quarterback.
In the next 2 seasons, Scott, I don't know. I can't tell you that because I've come to the realization that we will never have a franchise quarterback. Our 3 Super Bowls, I don't care what anyone says, Joe Theismann was not a franchise quarterback in my opinion. Just my opinion. I know I'm ignorant in that fact. I wasn't alive back then.
You're right.
But I don't consider him a franchise quarterback. Our 3 Super Bowls were won by guys that were just normal, regular quarterbacks. No disrespect to Doug Williams or Mark Ripkenry. I'm not trying to. But basically, you should be trying to replicate that formula of building such a great team around it that you can plug in any quarterback and they can get you far. It all based on how good your team is. That being said, in the next 2 seasons, if they went through a quarterback, I think you're asking, are they going the Kansas City Chiefs way or are they following the Tampa Bay Buccaneers blueprint? And I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers blueprint is probably more feasible than them drafting a guy high. I would love for them to go out and draft a guy high, but to credit and to Mike's and Cakes' point, I don't think Ron Rivera is going to be banking on the future at that point because in a season or 2, these contracts are going to start rolling around and it's going to be win now mode ASAP.
Yeah. So there's one selection left, and I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to go with they're going to draft a guy, okay? But a few things have to happen, obviously. The guy has to be there when they're picking, But I do think that Washington, well, if they can't acquire a veteran, I do think that they'll do whatever they have to do to be able to get a franchise quarterback. Like Ron wants to get younger, but I do think you're right. I do think he likes veteran at the quarterback position. To be completely honest, I think he wants his team leader to be a vet, and this this coming year's quarterback class is not nearly as good as the last 2 years. It's still, but you never know what's going to happen. I mean,
Right.
nobody saw Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, all these guys fly up the draft board.
Lamar Jackson.
They did. Lamar. Yeah. So you never know what's going to happen. I definitely think that they will find somebody to play quarterback long term. I hope so. At least that's that's all I want in life.
To finish up this episode, we got one last question from Liam. He asks, what do you think is going to happen with Landon Collins? He's one of the biggest contracts on the team and practically has no trade value after his injury last season. Yeah. So what's going to happen, Reed?
Old Landon is going to be on the team this year. But after that, I think it's going to get ready to go. You know, after that, I don't remember the cap hit or anything that it would be after this season. But I mean, just based off injuries and play, I would imagine that. I mean, Ron's not probably too thrilled about that. It's a big contract for a safety too, and if he's not filling up, if he's not playing up to it, I mean, what can you do? You just kind of got to move on.
I think the June 1st designation changed it to less of a cap hit, but there's still a big cap hit if they were to release him,
right.
And that negative is not worth not playing him. The problem is fitting him inside of that puzzle and getting production out of him while you're paying that much for him. So you're kind of stuck, almost like the John Wall scenario with the Wizards a couple years ago. But I think Landon's going to be on the team. Like I said, I think he's going to contribute. I think he's going to be a specialty like linebacker. I'm not going to say linebacker because they keep hyping on this, but I think they're just going to come up with a name for him. He's not going to be called a linebacker, but it's going to be some random name. They might call him Dildo. I don't know.
Safety in quotes. Yeah.
I don't know what's going to be called.
Yeah.
But he's going to be predominantly used as a blitzer because that's where he looked really, really good last season. So let's build on that. Let's keep doing that instead of trying to make you do something that you are not proven to do yet, especially this late in his career for only one season.
Yeah. I've been saying from the get-go, the contract that he has kind of makes you're forced to play him no matter what. You can't have that much money just sitting on the sideline.
Right.
I mean, look what we've done with Alex Smith for the past season and a half. I mean, all that money just sitting on the bench. Not his fault, obviously, but yeah, I definitely think that the contract forces you to play him. And like Reed said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Landon Collins is best playing close to the line of scrimmage, blitzing the quarterback, kind of playing that run game, kind of hybrid safety linebacker position. So only way to put him in and fit into the puzzle is make him play that position. And at the end of the day, the contract says it all. I mean, you got to play him. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, you have to. And that's a great one. Hey, remember, everyone, all of these questions that we ask or sent in, you guys can answer them. We want to hear from you. Comment on the YouTube section. Comment on the Facebook stream. You know, maybe you want to message us on Facebook or Twitter. You just got to look us up at The Burgundy Zone. You could find Hall at TBZ Money Mike 301 on Twitter. You could find Reed at Mike Reed. What is it? 2156.
Yeah,
I got it this time.
Arrington. Yeah.
You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram. We're at The Burgundy Zone. You can find us at Facebook at The Burgundy Zone. So if you guys want to comment, we want to hear from you. Who do you think is the best 86 in NFL history? Where do you think Landon Collins is going to fit in this season? Where Cam Curl and the nickel back?
Are you single and a man? And what? What's up?
All right, everybody. That was a great episode. What a great way to finish that off, Reed. Fantastic.
Sorry.
All right, everybody. I'm Kyle.
I am Hall.
And I am ready to go to sleep right now, so thank you.
All right, everybody. We will see you on Thursday. Make sure you don't miss it, all right? Washington football. Woo! What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video. Thanks again for all your support. Until next time.